Alright, this video is gonna be a tad different because, yeah, last time I talked about symptoms, but that was still horror. Today I'm talking about something that's totally different for this channel or my other channel, my main channel, Spooky Celluloid. So if you're here for some deep analysis of Jean-Luc Godard's film, you're not exactly at the right place. This is just me bullshitting around just how the entire movie is just people bullshitting around. Today I'm talking about Vivre sa vie, of course, by Jean-Luc Godard. And yeah, so if you guys never watched my collection video, I do have a very artsy film student vibe to me. Sometimes I just feel like pop in some French new wave, some Italian new wave. Geez, I don't mind. I even got some Czech new wave now. From time to time, I will pop in some artsy stuff, and I absolutely adore artsy fartsy movies like Vivre sa vie. You see, life is about balance. I can watch Vivre sa vie after a night, last night, where I watched Erotic Nights of the Living Dead and Caligula and Messalina. See, it's just about balance. Sometimes I gotta throw in a Jean-Luc Godard film, or a Pasolini or Fellini film in there, and then, you know, I'm chill. And then you have the Japanese, which it's just well-made, well-crafted masterpieces that are also super sleazy. Yeah, what is this film about? Well, this is kind of like a film which is made up of vignettes. In fact, 12 vignettes. They call them tableaux, which is the French word for, like, how do I say, you know, a painting. The painting itself in French would be a tableau. So they're basically 12 paintings, which basically just describe the scenes that are just vignettes in daily life. This is we would call today a slice of life film, where it's just comprised of scenes after scenes of just people living their lives. In this one, it's Nana, a young woman who aspires to be a model, an actress that lives in Paris, but life doesn't go her way, so she finds herself in the world of prostitution. And the back of the movie, the back of the box from Criterion just describes it as this downward spiral. It's not really a downward spiral. It does get worse for our main character, but it's not like significantly worse. It's not like every scene is just her life getting worse and worse. There's just really a couple of parts where you're like, oh, okay, her life isn't going as well as as she had hoped, but it's really it's not what you think of if I just say that it's about a woman who discovers prostitution and then goes into a downward spiral. In fact, the world of prostitution in France at that time was kind of reglemented. No, that's French. Was kind of supervised by the police, the doctors, medical professionals, stuff like that. And one of the bonus in this is an excerpt from a 1961 French television expose on prostitution, which is probably goes very well with this film, since this is fairly realistic and a fairly real depiction of the subject matter. And then, of course, since it's Criterion, you get an essay about that subject too. I haven't read it personally. I am interested because the subjects that are dealt with in this film truly like, they interest me. Therefore, I want to learn more about them. So it's an essay by Michael Atkinson. Yeah, this is a pretty nice. I'll probably get into it. So all of that to say that this film is just a slice of life, people talking and people hanging out in cafes or outside of cafes, just chain smoking cigarettes and bullshitting around, which describes France pretty well. And it also describes the French New Wave pretty well, where you just see people living their lives. There's nothing out of the ordinary or extraordinary that happens in the movie, other than like gangsters getting shot, and then there's this wonderful machine gun pan, as people call it, which is a very good demonstration of Godard's style. I like his style. It's very cinema verite. It's very documentary style, which makes sense why there is excerpts from a documentary, because this feels like a documentary. The dialogue feels unscripted, improvised, but fairly calculated in the improv that the actors were probably not doing. This was probably written. I don't know. I'm no Godard expert. I only own 2 of his films. This one and La Chinoise, and I haven't even seen La Chinoise. I just really, really love this film. It's so hard to talk about without going too deep into details or sounding pretentious, because at the end of the day, this is a very pretentious film. Now, if you've just discovered my channel and this is the type of videos you're watching on YouTube, essays about artsy cinema, you're probably offended, but let's be honest, this is what this is. This is just a woman living her daily life, going about her life, bullshitting around with people, smoking cigarettes, being a prostitute, and there's some dialogue in this that is so fucking pretentious. It's almost a parody, or future like pop culture references would parody this. Like, I'm pretty sure The Simpsons probably made parodies of this, or even I remember in like GTA 5, if you go to the theater, you have like this artsy theater where it's just cowboys. No, that's South Park, where like gay cowboys eating pudding. These types of pop culture references are what these shows or movies are referencing. They're talking about films like this, where you're looking at a 4:3 image of just actors smoking cigarettes in cafes and saying nothing. The first like 5 minutes are shots of people's back while they're talking. It's clearly somewhat amateur in its execution. The sound, sometimes you can hear a lot of background noises. Godard's experimental editing. As someone who professionally edits, I admire the experimentation. I don't admire the editing choices. Sometimes you're like, oh, this is jarring and makes no fucking sense. But then again, that's what this movie was. So, as one of my teachers said in one of my classes, if you do something once, it's a mistake. If you do it multiple times, it's a style choice. So there are a lot of style choices in this movie. I don't know. I just really, it's beautifully shot. I love the style of handheld or tripod, depending on the situation. Technically, it's very impressive, especially for the limitations of the time. It's a beautiful movie to look at. The actress, which she was apparently in a lot of Godard's film, Anna Karina, she's wonderful, and there's a reason why she's so prominent in Godard's filmography. Of course, she has this very noticeable look, this very innocent kind of look, but the character starts as a more innocent woman, and then she slowly delves into the world of crime and prostitution. Yeah, this is an amazing movie. I don't really have much to say. I think a lot has been said about this, and you can probably find like hour-long essays on YouTube about why this is a masterpiece. For myself, I adore it. It's one of my favorite films from the 60s. I give this one easily like a 9.28. Good. Jean-Luc Godard, good. What else is new?